Started. So a big welcome to everybody this week, and thank you for joining me for the Yoga Biz coaching and training with me, Kelly McHugh. I'm the founder of Digital Yoga Academy. So as you start to join, guys, do say hello, type a little comment, let me know where you are watching from. And this week we are talking about habits. So creating habits in your yoga business and really getting into the habit of focusing on one thing consistently every single day. Okay, so as you start to join on Facebook and on Instagram, do say hello, let me know where you are watching from, and we will begin any moment. I will get started. So we're talking about habits. And first up, are any of you guys, are you using habits, daily habits in your business at the moment? If you are, just type in the comment and just let me know the types of things that you're doing day in, day out. I'd love to know. And the reason we're talking about habits today is because I know that a lot of yoga teachers, feel kind of overwhelmed with all of the things that they need to do in their business. And quite often it's because they don't have any processes in place. Okay, so if you're just joining me, do say hello on Instagram and on Facebook. If you're just joining me, my name is Kelly McHugh. Hello, Vera. I am the founder of Digital Yoga Academy. I'm here every single week. And you're joining me here for the yoga business and marketing coaching and training session. Okay, today we're talking about creating daily habits in your yoga business. Okay, so creating daily habits and really, finding your one thing is really great to allow you to focus properly in your day. And especially if you find that you're getting distracted or you're easily overwhelmed or you just kind of, lose track of the goal or the thing, the outcome that you're working towards. And I think also, if you're just getting started out in your yoga business, or, it is your full-time thing, and you're just kind of starting to feel all over the place in terms of, your ideas and your thoughts, then today's training is really going to help you. And I think, as yogi-preneurs, which is what we all are, we do put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And, you often hear about the hustle. And, I always say that as yoga teachers, we shouldn't be hustling, okay? We shouldn't be hustling because hustling leads to burnout, guys. If you find that you're hustling day in, day out, you are going to get to a point where you feel burnt out, and that's not where we want to be, okay? So I think, one way to overcome that is to look at the daily goals or the tasks that you can do every single day, and all of the tasks and priorities that you are doing, they're kind of competing for each other, and you might feel like you've got loads of things to do and where to start. And often we do feel like that, don't we? We feel like we have to do everything and we have to be everything, especially when we're just starting out. So I want to ask you now, if there was one thing that you could do every single day that would set you up for success, what would that be? Okay, what would that be if there was one thing that you could do every single day that would set you up for success? Now, that one thing is a daily habit, and it's something that you do consistently day after day. And I don't know if you guys have heard of a book. It's called Atomic Habits, and I'm reading it at the moment. It's by a guy called James Clear, and his book is really about the compounded effect of doing something, the same thing, every single day. Okay, so what might seem really insignificant when it's done only once can actually become quite significant when it's done consistently over and over again. And a great example of this is when you go to the gym. If you just go to the gym once a week, in a month's time, you're not really going to see much result. But if you go every single day because you make it a habit, then the result that you see is going to be far greater. Does that make sense? And what he also says, which I think is really interesting, is that when you go beyond, just aiming for a goal, so say your goal is losing weight, and instead you focus on changing your identity around that goal, your habits are more likely to stay, okay? So what does that mean, you know, for yoga teachers? Well, instead of saying, I'm a yoga teacher who's trying to build a business and I'm struggling to make money because I don't know what steps to take, instead of saying that, because that's an identity that you're associating with, instead, we find ourselves moving from that identity to a more positive and epic identity, okay, of I am a yoga business owner and an entrepreneur, and I'm learning how to build my business, how to make more money, and how to create more impact. Can you see the difference in this, guys? Can you see the difference in what I'm saying here? You know, in those two identities that you can perhaps relate to yourself. So do let me know if you're watching on Facebook, if you've got any comments here as they're coming in. And we've got a comment here on Instagram from Girl to Go, and she says, set a priority main task of the day. It makes you feel accomplished and not overwhelmed. Exactly, when you focus on just that one thing, then you've just got that one thing that really is going to be the one thing that's your priority. And the thing is, it's like if you have a to-do list and you've got 20 things on your to-do list, I can bet that if you look at that to-do list, you know what your one thing is. We know what our one priority is, and quite often it's the thing that we leave until the end of the day. And I don't know if you've heard of the saying, well, it's a whole concept actually, eat that frog. There's actually a book that's been written about it. And, you know, that concept is that you eat the frog, you eat the one thing, that big juicy thing right at the start of the day, okay? Because if you allow all of the menial tasks like checking your emails or scrolling on Instagram or whatever it might be, if you allow those things to take priority, then that one big thing that's actually going to make the most difference in your business gets pushed to the end of the day. And then maybe we get to the end of the day and we think, oh, we'll do it tomorrow. Okay, can you see where I'm going with this? So it's really important that you actually start to, instead of just focusing on a goal or an outcome, that you actually focus on a new identity, because you can form habits that are aligned with this identity of a yogipreneur, of a yoga business owner, because that is essentially what you are. Okay, so you actually start to step into the shoes and wear the hat of the yogipreneur, and these habits are really you know, aligned with that identity, and they allow you to move forward with just more confidence and ease, okay? Because instead of, you know, blocking ourselves, which we quite often do, instead of doing that, we see ourselves making or creating more impact. And to do that, you know, you really have to change your mindset. You have to start thinking and behaving like a yoga business owner or like a yogipreneur. And it's something that you have to work on, building the habit of being that person that owns a yoga business. So is everyone with me on this? I'm just going to check in on Facebook, see how we're doing over there. But, you know, what identity do you currently resonate with? What identity are you currently resonating with? Are you resonating, or are you, you know, in that mindset and identity of a yoga teacher who's, you know, maybe you're struggling and that's what you're telling yourself every day? Or are you stepping into the shoes of a yogipreneur, a yogi business owner who's working and learning on building their business and making more impact and focusing more on that? Where are you right now? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. And so yes, I think that's really quite interesting, is to really kind of look at the identity as a way to form habits, and, you know, as a way to know what you need to focus on. What is your one thing that you need to focus on? And like I said, you probably know what your one thing is. Very, very likely that you know what your one priority is. And that's the first thing that you should be doing, okay? So firstly, you know, you would set your goal. And then you need to ask yourself, what is the daily habit that I must develop in order to achieve my big goal? Okay, because there's no good just having a goal. We need to have a process. We need to have a system to enable us to, you know, reach that goal. And to do that successfully and effectively and in the most time efficient way, that involves forming habits. So something that we would do every single day consistently. So for instance, if your goal is to write a book, okay, on how to, I don't know, develop a home yoga practice, say you want to write a book, well, you need to get into the habit of writing at least 1,000 words every single day. And that would be the first thing that you do every morning. The first thing that you do is just work on that habit, that one thing every single day. If your goal is to launch your yoga website, then the habit that you will be working on every single day, the one thing that you focus your energy and time on, is to maybe work through an online course that takes you through the steps that you need to go through to get your website up and running. If your goal was to increase the number of private clients, okay, what would you be doing if your goal was to increase the number of private clients? Well, every single day you would be working, or you'd be following a plan, maybe a marketing plan that you've created to attract new clients. So, you know, there will be activities involved in that, you know, things like creating and posting content, or maybe gathering testimonials or incentives, or, you know, for client referrals, or expanding your network. You know, there's going to be activities that you need to do in order to reach your goal, but you would make it a habit every single day to work on those activities. Do you see where I'm going with this? Oh, I think we have some comments on Facebook. Let's have a look. Yes, perfect. Sorry, guys, they've not come through. So let me know if this is kind of you know, if this feels like something that you can incorporate into the way you're working throughout your week. And I think it's a really nice way to work, guys, because, you know, as a yoga teacher, if you're teaching in studios, or you're probably doing lots of different things, right? You'd be teaching studio classes, perhaps, maybe you do some corporate clients, private clients, you know, maybe you're running workshops. And there's a lot going on in your week. You're planning, you're doing your admin, perhaps you have another job. Well, a really great way to ensure that you're growing and working on your yoga business consistently is to get into the habit of working on these tasks and these activities that are going to propel you forward and move you towards your goals. And I think, you know, I think this is the reason I really wanted to talk about this today, is because we're halfway through the year. You know, we're halfway through the year already, and I know that at the beginning of the year, many of you joined me online for some planning workshops that I ran. And I know that many of you have amazing goals that you want to achieve. There's a lot that you want to do. There's a lot of impact that you want to create with your students. And you might have got to June and thought, oh gosh, where am I with that? I'm not as far ahead as I wanted to be. You know, what's going on here? So it's a good opportunity to really just check in with yourself, you know, just really check in, see how you're getting on. What do you need to change? Where do you need to show up? And you know, what kind of things, you know, where do you need to show up basically in order for you to actually move forward? So Kate on Facebook, thank you, Kate. She says, yes, it's a really good reminder. Thank you. After years of running yoga centers, it's easy to get tired and forget good habits that move you towards your goals. Certainly. Yeah, it's easy to slip into bad habits, isn't it? Of like not staying on track with the things that are truly lighting you up inside. And they're the things that I know, and you know, that you really want to create. And I know that it's about creating impacts, essentially, you know, not just in your life, but for the life of your students and your community, and really enabling you to get out of your, you know, to get your message out there into your community. So I think we've established here that it's not enough just to set goals. It's not enough just to set goals. You know, the daily habits are the things that they're essentially the engine. The daily habits are the engine that are going to move us towards our goals. And you know, when you know what your goal is and you know what it is that you're working towards, what you really need is a system. You need a system that's going to kind of propel you forward in the direction that you want to go. And that system requires forming a habit, okay? And I'm sure you've seen on Instagram, there's a quote that says, it's something like, you know, people don't decide their futures, they decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. I mean, don't quote me word for word, but it's something like that. So I really want to encourage you to make that activity, whatever it is that's associated with your goal, to make that activity a habit, so that it's, you know, so that every day it becomes automatic. It becomes the thing that you do every single day. And it's also important to say here is that, you know, I think we've heard different things in terms of the period that's required in order to create a habit. And I've certainly heard, you know, timeframes like 21 days or 30 days, but there doesn't seem to be, and I've been doing my own little research on this, there doesn't seem to be any kind of original source, I guess, that kind of backs up where that data came from. And there's actually a group in Australia who have just done some research around how long it takes to form a habit, and they found that on average it takes 66 days to form a habit. So what this means for most people, because in our minds already we think it's like 21 days or 30 days, is actually taking 2 or 3 times longer than people actually expect it to take. And therefore, you know, people just drop off. They stop focusing on it. They stop giving it energy, and then they don't form the habit. And that's why you find that most kind of New Year's resolutions tend to fall apart in February, because people haven't just given it enough time. So I want you guys to look at your habits. You know, where do you need to show up in different ways? Where do you need to show up in different ways? Any more comments coming in on this? Let's have a look. Any more comments coming in? So any ideas of what you need to do right now? Is there anything that's, you know, sticking in your mind right now where you think, yeah, I need to make this one thing a habit every single day? What is that one thing, guys? What are you working on in your business? What's your big goal that you're working on right now that you want to work on every single day? And what's the activity you need to do every single day in order for you to create a habit and move yourself forward to working on your goals, working on your big goals? So maybe, you know, one of your goals might be that you want to create an online course. You want to create an online course. Well, there's a lot of work that goes into creating an online course, but of course there's amazing benefits that come with it as well. And I've done trainings on this, so go to the archive on the Digital Yoga Academy page and catch up on those if you are interested in teaching online. But if you wanted to create and launch an online course, there are a number of different things, and there's a framework that you need to go through in order to do that successfully. You know, things like research with your audience, you know, coming up with ideas for your online course, validating those ideas, creating your outline, then looking at your whole launch strategy. There's a framework that takes you through how to do that. But if you want to do something like that, because it is such a meaty piece of work, you really need to be working on it every single day. So you need to make that a habit to be working on those tasks and to be working through that framework every single day. So Gina says, makes sense. That's amazing. I'm glad it makes sense. And Kate says, marketing. Post, prepare and write content for an online course, which I've just completed. Amazing! Woo-hoo! That's incredible. Well done, Kate. That's so good. So you'll know what I'm talking about when I say the framework and the process that you need to go through to create your online course. And now you've moved into the marketing stage. So you'll be moving through your pre-launch and your launch activity, which is incredible. But you'll know that, you know, your course doesn't just create itself and market itself. It requires you to put the work in. You know, nothing moves forward unless you actually do it and you get on board with it. And it will just be a very, very slow process if you just give it an hour here and there each week. You know, if you consistently show up every single day to get that content out there, then it's going to happen. It will happen. So that's why habit forming is so, so important. And I think also the problem here quite often is that we, instead of setting a schedule, we just set a deadline. We say it has to be done by this point. We focus on the deadline, but we don't actually create a schedule. So, you know, look at this when you're kind of goal setting in the future. Look at your schedule. Focus on creating a schedule and the habits that you need to, you know, form consistently to work yourself through that schedule. Okay. And what else can I say on this today? Oh yes, so I think quite often the other thing that happens here is that we get distracted, don't we? We get distracted. So what stops us from forming daily habits? It's the distractions. It's the things that interrupt the schedule. And so I want to encourage you to really just take some time to try and identify what your distractions are. Because quite often we don't even notice the distractions. They become such a normal part of our day-to-day. Things like scrolling through the gram, that's a big distraction, guys. See if you can identify these things so that you can remove them, okay? Identifying the big distractions in your life right now will help you to really recognize them and, you know, help you to kind of consciously put them aside, okay? I've started using an app called Forest where you can set a timer, and that timer will allow you to, and it basically, the app shows a little tree that's growing during that time. So if you've set a timer for 20 minutes, then the little app, you can see the tree that's growing during that 20 minutes. And if you use your phone in that 20 minutes, the little tree dies. Okay, so it's called Forest, and it's a really good way to not be distracted by your phone. So, you know, it might be that you put your phone in another room, or you turn off your emails. That can be another distraction. But, you know, when you are constantly being distracted, or inundated with distractions, you're never going to be fully able to kind of sink into your creativity, okay? And that's when you start to become overwhelmed. You know, that's when you start to just kind of feel a bit overstretched with everything, okay? So do check in with that. And then once you've removed the distractions, you know what your the habits are that you need to create in order to move you forward. The next thing I want you to have a look at is creating space, okay? Creating space. So it might be that first thing in the morning you're teaching yoga classes, so you can't get to work on these things every single day first thing in the morning. So what I want you to do is look at your diary and actually put blocks of time into your calendar when you're going to work on these tasks and your daily habits, okay? So actually physically either put it into your online calendar, or if you've got a written diary, put it in there so it's there, okay? Because you're more likely to show up. You're more likely to show up if you do that. And just blocking in that time of like uninterrupted time to yourself is really signifying to yourself that this is dedicated goal time. This is dedicated habit time. There are no other distractions. It's a no distraction zone, okay? So how's this helped with you guys today? What any thoughts that are coming through on what I've shared? Any thoughts on coming through of what I've shared? So we've got here on Facebook, Kate again, it was overwhelming, but so she's talking about her online course, but having a list and ticking it off every single day. Took a while to get it. What you're saying is great. It's helping to keep me and others motivated. Yeah, and also, you know, turning your to-do list into a success list. Turn your to-do list into a success list and look at your success list and focus on your number one priority and take it from there. Okay, and Pawan Sharma, thank you for joining, says benefits of Zen yoga to keep you into your concentration zone. Exactly, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing. Oh, we've got over here as well. So we've got Emily says, my daily habit should be more present on social media. So do you mean here in terms of visibility? That's a great daily habit to have. Absolutely great. So that really ties into your content, the content that you're sharing, you know, every week with your community online. Being visible online really ties into that. So that might be going onto Instagram stories every single day and making that a habit. Maybe it's like, you know, you just taught your morning yoga class and you're back home by 9 o'clock, and make yourself a nice little cuppa, and at 9:30 you do your daily Instagram stories. And to make it easy for yourself, it could be you're just simply talking about the content that you've shared on your feed that day. So if you're sharing Instagram posts every single day, then you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You know, keep it easy for yourself. Simply get onto Instagram stories and talk about that topic of, you know, the content that you've shared on your post. So just because somebody sees it on your, sees it in their news feed, doesn't necessarily mean that they will see your Instagram stories, and vice versa. And actually, there's no problem with re-sharing the content in that way either. So make it easy for yourself. But I love that, showing up, being visible. That's a great habit to really focus your time and energy on. And any other questions, guys, before I go? Otherwise, I just want to say, you know, try and make this a ritual. Make it into a ritual. How can you create a ritual for your habits? So maybe, you know, it's you take a little bit of time to I don't know, set up your desk in a certain way, or like I said, make yourself a nice turmeric tea or whatever it might be, or maybe you do, you know, some meditation before you move into your daily habit. But creating some kind of ritual around it, again, is a really nice way to, you know, make it more consistent every single day. Okay, and before I go, I've actually got something really exciting that I want to tell you guys about. And I want to tell you about a yoga business immersion that's happening on the 8th of July. It's happening for 7 days. If you're on Instagram, I've shared the link to it, so you can sign up in my bio, in the Instagram bio. It's called the Yogipreneur 7-Day Business Immersion, and it involves 14 world-leading yoga teachers. Okay, so they're going to be sharing their strategies with you. There's a lot going on in the 7 days that I can't wait to kind of announce to you more over the coming days. But head over to the bio, you can sign up, secure your space. It's totally free, and I'll share the link here in Facebook as well. And yeah, that's it for now, guys. So thank you for showing up today. Thank you for joining me. We can continue this conversation. Send me a DM or add a comment on Facebook, and I'll be checking in. And I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Bye for now. Bye.